Not every Rocket League World Championship needs to be the storybook ending. Now, I say that because BDS won, and a lot of people will be like, that's not the ending we wanted. And if I asked people to rank from 1 through 8 out of the final 8 teams, who do you want to win the Rocket League World Championship for 2021-2022? I would be willing to bet that BDS would be at the bottom of that list. Not because they're a bad team, or they lack fan flair, or they have a boring playstyle. Out of those 8 teams, they were just the least popular, the least likely to be rooted for, especially in a North American environment. If it was in France, who knows, right? Who knows? So talking about storybook endings and why it's important in terms of Rocket League and why it doesn't need to be a storybook ending, even though it kind of was. Think back to the first storybook ending that I could think of. Hey, me and Post, season 1 and 2 irrelevant. I know. Truly, aside from, there's plenty. Season 3, Turbo subbing in. It's the perfect ending. It's what should have happened. And I think that's where the line gets drawn about like what should have happened and what did happen, and where you define what is the storybook ending, the good ending versus the bad ending versus the cliffhanger, whatever you may say. A cliffhanger ending might be like season 5, Justin hitting the shot heard around the world, the biggest goal in RLCS history, only to come up short because Garrett and Fireburner bumped into each other, allowing for the three-peat from Turbo. That's not the storybook ending in that situation, right? If you're thinking about it from Justin and NRG's perspective, if you're thinking about it from a North American's perspective, but if you're thinking about it as a fan of Turbo, as a fan of that Gale Force Dignitas dynasty, that's exactly how the story should have ended, is bracket reset and taking down NRG in the end. And then the very next season, season 6, the storybook ending is bringing it home, right? Cloud9 playing in Las Vegas, taking down that same Dignitas roster with a bracket reset. It's poetic. It's perfect.
Do the unthinkable. They've done it. Cloud9 dethrones the kings of Rocket League in series after series, and they do it. Cloud9, your season 6 world champions.
Season 7, storybook ending, is Rizzo finally gets to win his first RLCS World Championship. Same thing with Chicago, same thing with JNAPS, the season that they make their roster change after they lose Kronovi. It's a bittersweet story for Kronovi and G2 fans because they couldn't see Kronovi win again, but it is exactly what we all wanted as fans. And what did we get instead? The storybook ending of Scrubkilla fulfilling his destiny as a Rocket League prodigy by getting his first Rocket League World Championship title. So that's where I'm going with this, is that yeah, not every single story has to be written in the perfect way, fabricated to meet exactly what we want. And BDS probably ripped out a couple pages of our book, or at least my book.
I want you to rip out that page. Go on. Rip out the entire page. Go on. Rip it out.
And I'm happy that they got to write their own, because the last Rocket League World Championship, Season 8, I think is one of the greatest stories ever told, about a cross-region transfer. The retiring of an old guard legend, Fireburner, and bringing in Turbopulsa to replace him. A roster move that not many people saw coming. A roster move that changed the way Rocket League history has been shaped forever. And a grand final fit for the storybooks of full Game 7, Vitality putting energy on the ropes, Garrett, Justin, one last time against KDOP, but with Turbo on their side this time. And what does the storybook end with?
Great play to this corner. Very pin. He's got past 2 players. Looks for a bump. Garrett G clears line. Justin!
A perfect clear to Justin, who's upfield, to put the goal over Scrubkilla, to solidify NRG and Garrett's first world champion, Justin's first world championship, and the bevy of emotions that were felt during that series. Would we have felt the same way if Vitality had won a second back-to-back? That would be KDOP's second time going back-to-back. Would that story feel different? Would Rocket League's history feel the same as it does now? I'm not here to say yes or no, but I'm telling you, this win from Europe right now, had NRG not brought it home to the United States, technically, previously. I feel like this win from BDS actually would hold a bit more weight, would feel a little bit more like, oh, like Europe is still dominating North America. We've only ever had 2. But instead, there's the third one with NRG in Season 8. So I ask you, as a fan, as an enjoyer of the RLCS, to understand that BDS was writing their own story this entire season, let alone the World Championship, that they aren't just onliners. And they proved that at the Fall Major, the first LAN international competition since Season 8 in Madrid, where Garrett, Turbo, and Justin won. And in the Fall Major, who'd they take down? NRG. Just with Squishy this time. You get the point, though, is that BDS have proved, obviously that was with Mark by 8, now it's with Seikoo, and then they had that story to rewrite about how is Seikoo going to be a LAN performer. Spring Major did not perform well, obviously. 0-3, it's not what you want. And then to come back and rewrite the script for the World Championship where you end up winning it against a North American team, the only 2 players in RLCS history to go to 2 World Championships and not win one of them. There have been players that have lost more than one, but every single player that has gone to a second one while losing the first wins that second one. It's a sour taste. It's a sad ending for my story. But for BDS, proving that they are not just onliners, that they are LAN performers, that they are the best team in the world right now, that Monkey Moon is the best player in the world right now, that Seikoo is going to probably soon be the best player in the world. Like, there are going to be conversations, palpable conversations, for so long about what this roster is and who they are and what their identity is, and all they were able to accomplish during the RLCS 2021-2022 season. The story that they wrote was that they're this team out of nowhere during RLCSX who just won every single tournament under the sun, until the very end when the pressure got put on the most, and Vitality, K-Dop, Fairy Peak, and Alpha 54 came knocking at their door and told them to get out. Reclaimed the European Championship, essentially. And there were question marks surrounding BDS about, can they perform on the biggest stage? And the story that they wrote during 2021-2022 is, yeah, at the end of the day, they can. They won the Fall Major against NRG. They win the World Championship against NA's best in G2. Full circle, playing, at the time, the best team from the main rival region. BDS, you may have not written a story that I wanted to read, but you've written a story that is very admirable and very powerful and will hold a lot of weight in the RLCS history books from here on out. Many conversations already surrounding, is this the best team of all time? I think we need to hold off a bit since there was a roster change in the middle, but Monkey Moon and Extra as a duo together, they've accomplished a lot, and they're going to accomplish so much more with Seikoo in RLCS 2022 and 2023. And I can't wait for whatever stories are going to be written then.